feels like a forward though.
What?
The new Nintendo Switch OLED edition.
I was watching some videos about it. People are pretty positive.
Yeah, no. It's a positive release to say the least. But let me at least tell you all of the specs of the Switches beforehand. So, as you guys know, we've had like 4 different releases of the Switch. We have the release day Nintendo Switch, we have the version 2, we have the Nintendo Switch Lite, and now we have the Nintendo Switch OLED. I'm not comparing the Nintendo Switch Lite to any of the originals. I'm considering that one in a different class because that one is spec'd lower. It's not. It wouldn't be a fair comparison, right? So for the release Switch specs, you have an ARM4 processor that runs at 1.2 gigahertz. It's they're meant for smaller computers. It's gonna get real basic with it. It's a 6.2-inch LCD display with a plastic screen over it, so it's not actual glass. 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of hard drive, 720p graphics when you're playing it in your hands, or 1080 when it's docked. Bluetooth, micro SD card slot expansion to 2 terabytes. The battery life on it is 2.5 to 6.5 hours, and when the Switch came out, it was priced at $299. Now it's $249, with the Nintendo Switch Lite sitting at $199. So they're comparatively that when you consider the price of a Nintendo Switch to a 360, the Series X, and the PlayStation 5, like you can't beat it, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, but again, I don't know. For some reason, any device that comes like the Switch not coming with like a terabyte in it is kind of like a joke to me. Like if I can get an iPhone with a terabyte in it, why can't they put it in a Switch?
So I have an answer for that, and it's kind of beautiful how Nintendo won't go for innovation, will go for repurposing older technology, and Microsoft and Sony will see that and go, hey, this worked really well for the Switch. Let's adapt it to our console. And they make the idea better. That's something that I read online, especially when I was doing research for this topic. Like,
Well, I think.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was gonna say more memory would probably drive up the price a lot more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
Does it have the more powerful processor?
No. Okay, so between the release Switch which was released in May of 2017, we got an updated version of the Nintendo Switch in 2019. Had upgraded processor for higher power efficiency, which led to the newer version of the Nintendo Switch lasting from 4.5 to 9 hours from the original 2.5 to 6.5. Nintendo will continue to say that they didn't make any changes to any of the other hardware, but we have proof that Nintendo worked with an LCD manufacturer that made better screens for the updated Switch, which made it to be brighter, which led to it being warmer so that it could show you more colors. And the darks would be darker. If that makes any sense. Right? And those were the 2 Switch versions that we've had before. With the OLED version, you have a lot of the same interior components as the version 2, which was released in 2019. But the biggest difference is the screen. It went from 6.2 to a full 7-inch display, keeping the same size. But the new OLED Switch is heavier. It has custom AMD processors as the version 2. It's got the same processors when you're holding it in your hand, same resolution when you're holding it in your hand and when you have it docked, but it does have a newer dock. We don't know the full specs of the dock yet, but we know that they've added a new they replaced the USB cable on the inside with a network cable plug.
That's dumb, right? So I like that it has a network cable now, which is convenient, but at the same time, how am I going to charge my Pro Controller now?
You still have the USB connections on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I can handle that.
yeah. You'll still have the same amount of USB connections available to you. There's two
Okay,
on one
so
side and there's one on the other.
my other question is the OLED. The
Mhm.
only company I know that uses OLED on a mass level is LG.
And Samsung.
Well, and Samsung. But LG has been one of the leading developers of it, right? And
Yeah.
LG TVs have horrible burn-in.
Yeah.
And I've already heard rumors of the Switch having burn-in.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Damn.
that is one of the big issues that they're facing right now. But there
And I
are
thought Samsung used QLED, not the OLED.
They use OLED as well as QLED.
Oh.
Yeah, they have TVs that use both, but I think those were older TVs.
Yeah,
Is this
because
why like
QLED is their latest and greatest.
is this why like Switch or Nintendo really didn't like push this launch? Like I feel like I see a lot more gearing up to like any Nintendo launch, and this one was just kind of like like it wasn't like a big launch like the Switch was.
Well,
But even then, it's been sold out for like a year. So they really, why waste the marketing budget if you're already like pre-sold out a year ahead?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I won't go into the other upgrades that they did for the model. The only one that was really notable is they upgraded their rails for the Joy-Cons when you slide them in. They're tighter, so they're a much cleaner fit, and the internal storage went from 32 to 64 gigabytes. But the thing is priced at $349, dude. Like, we have 3 Nintendo Switches in the house, right? Like, I have the release year Switch, Norma has the V2 Switch, then the kiddo has a Switch Lite. I'm not gonna drop $350 on a new fucking Switch. I was expecting the Pro version, and I think that's where all the hype went, which is why Nintendo didn't really spend as much marketing material on it, because they didn't need to. Everyone was already expecting a Pro Switch, so releasing a better resolution Switch with different handheld components would be a bigger win. Plus, the biggest winner for me would be the kickstand. The kickstand isn't like a little kick thing anymore. It's like full half the
whole
back
back,
opens up all the way. Yeah, it's fucking cool.
I know, because the little kickstand annoys the shit out of me. At least
Yeah.
put 2 little kickstands, right? Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me some stability for the expensive ass piece of technology I just bought.
So I think the Nintendo Switch OLED is supposed to replace the original, and
is it only at 1080 or is it actually 4K?
only 1080. The
Yeah,
rest of the
so like,
internals
why
are
even
the
go through
exact same
this
thing.
effort, right?
But that's what Nintendo's known for. They're not known for making innovation like Sony and Microsoft. Like Nintendo, if they didn't sell the Switch and went full developer and didn't have to release their own hardware, they would make more money. But they don't go that route because it's not where they want to go.
No wonder they're
Nintendo,
such a big supporter of the Steam Deck.
me being a supporter of the Steam Deck,
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Right? Like if they had supported the Steam Deck, it'd be a different fucking story. But Nintendo's known for grabbing old technology and renovating it for newer with newer technology, and Sony and Microsoft will take what Nintendo's rolling with and make it better. Like that's the way that they work, which is why I don't think Nintendo will ever stand up against Sony or Microsoft, but also Sony and Microsoft aren't gonna come up with anything that that Nintendo hasn't already done.
So, what do y'all think would be a great? When do y'all think the life cycle of consoles is going to be over? As at-home consoles, I should say. So, like the Xbox and the PlayStation, right? With unless they adapt to more of the Switch model, how long will they last? Much longer.
Because PlayStation already tried to do their PSP, right? And as far as I know, they haven't really upgraded anything. And even though people do like the Switch and the portability of it, you don't really see people walking around playing it or anything like that. They mostly still played at home or just when they travel. So I think the consoles are still going to be a big pool because you're going to have the better internet. You're going to have your TV. You're not going to be in public.
But
I
what's
just don't see
stopping you?
handhelds.
But what's stopping a lot of people from, the console hardcore at home console gamers switching to at home hardcore PCs that they can do all the same stuff off plus more?
Well, that's the thing. You have your exclusives, which are never gonna leave that environment, right? Like Sony's already invested a lot of money into their internal development studio, and so is Microsoft. Microsoft has already started porting games over to their PC side, but a lot of the other games are gonna stay as Xbox
Yeah, but then
exclusives.
again, we just started the console life of these two current consoles, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what was the 360 was what, 13 years?
Mm-hmm.
So, in 13 years, do you see Xbox still being an at-home console only?
I think so.
I don't think so. I think the reason why I feel that way is I think people would want the option, right? Like to like the Switch offers. You can set it up to your TV or you can take it on the go. And I do think that Xbox, both Microsoft and Sony, do need to take that in consideration just for their fan base, like something that does it all in one. Like we use our Xbox not just to play games, but to watch TV and to use all your other apps. It's just a one central hub. You can get stuff done. So maybe that option can be expanded, like through phones and other stuff, like Game Pass already has.
Plus,
Yeah,
to
I
be
could
fair-
see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Xbox, like you said, they have Game Pass. As Pete showed, they have the little game controllers. I mean, they linked with PCs already. There's some kind of evolution happening, right? But PlayStation, what is PlayStation doing?
Well,
They're putting out Grand Theft Auto 6, you know what I mean? Or
DLC.
Yeah.
So, to be fair to PlayStation, like Keelan had said that they had already tried mobile gaming with the PSP, but to be fair to the PSP, like it was definitely way before its time. Like you had a terrible 4-inch screen on that. You had disc games, so if you like shook them or if you bumped into someone
I
and
think that's
dropped
what
your
killed it.
console, yeah, like
Yeah.
that was the worst thing about the PSP. And by the time that Sony like, all right, fine, we'll make one digital, and they came out with the PS Vita, it was too late. And the PS Vita still has support from Sony at this moment, but they're not selling anymore. So I think if Sony were to release an updated version of it, it would be a lot more popular. But they're not going to do
Do you
that because
think-
that's not what their main market is.
Yeah, but if they did Sony PSP Vita with 5G,
The Vita,
would that sell?
well, the Vita had capabilities for a cellular network.
Well,
And that didn't sell.
5G can handle it though. That was also the problem, right?
Yeah.
That was what, 3G back then?
4G LTE.
I wouldn't even say that.
No, it was just 4G.
I don't know.
Either way, I'm still excited for Nintendo to release a new console. I'll bet, it's kind of the same stuff that the V2 has, it's just a bigger screen. But I hope that OLED burn-in isn't a serious issue, or else Nintendo kind of screwed the pooch.
Another scandal. The first was Joy-Con drift. Now it's burn-in.
Right?
Well, that's the thing, will Nintendo continue to let quality slip? Because I think that would hurt more. That would hurt their brand more than anything else.
I don't know. I think even with the quality slip, I think that they'll still have a successful year.
I still say that the Switch is the standout console this generation.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree.
I'm also a Nintendo fangirl, so
We're a Nintendo
I may be
family.
a little bit, maybe a little biased.